Joining me now, two real experts with military experience, retired General Wesley Clark, an advisor to President Obama's re-election campaign, and here with me, Wes Moore, a retired U.S. Army captain and combat veteran of 2 wars. Thank you very much, both. General Clark, first to you. I know that you come from the Obama camp, but let's talk about what you've heard so far from the Republican candidates. Let's talk about Iran, first of all. Your take on what we've heard from past debates, and we can anticipate again tonight, in terms of the solutions that they offer for what to do about Iran.
Well, Andrea, what we've heard is that foreign policy is mostly bipartisan, and in this case, our president has taken a really tough position on most of the issues that have come across his desk. And it's been very hard for the Republican candidates to move to the right of the president. For example, on Iran, the president's got the toughest sanctions that have ever been put on. He said it's not acceptable for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And there's probably a lot going on that we can't see as it should be. So when a Republican candidate says, oh, I would use covert action, okay, check. I'm sure that's being done. When they say, you know, they're prepared to use military force, our administration said all options are on the table.
Wes Moore, when we talk about Iran, you've heard Mitt Romney say that if he is elected president, Iran will not get the bomb. Whereas with Barack Obama, it's moving towards getting the bomb. Is there anything that a President Mitt Romney can do to stop Iran from, quote, getting the bomb?
You know, it's interesting because it's very easy, you know, saying Iran will not get the bomb. It's a great applause line. It's the same kind of applause line saying we're going to zero out foreign aid for Pakistan. It's the same kind of applause line saying we're going to send China to the WTO. You know, I think people understand that this is the season that we're in where people can make bombastic statements. And especially if you're running for president and you're not actually sitting in the seat, you can make bombastic statements without any real consequences. The important thing I think that we're going to see for tonight, whether it be what's happening with Iran with the bomb or any other type of foreign policy issue, is that foreign policy is about much more than just the memorization of facts. It's also about understanding context and also having a real clarity about the complexity of these different situations. So I think, you know, the president has been very clear and very assertive as to where he stands about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. I also think the president knows that from the seat that he's sitting in, it's not as easy to stand up and say they're not going to get the bomb and bang your chest without understanding all the other pieces that have to be in place in order for that to be a reality.
Wes Clark, isn't the White House vulnerable, though, in some part on the lack of action in the Middle East, no negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians, the way he's handled Israel, the fact that this president in his first term, unless something changes dramatically in the next couple of months and unlikely in the middle of a campaign, will not have even gone to Israel as president?
Well, I think you have to put it in context, as Wes Moore said. First of all, look at the previous administration, which said they absolutely weren't going to do negotiations. Condoleezza Rice said at the very end of her term, maybe there was a chance for an agreement. Sure, maybe with an Israeli prime minister who was on the way out and on his last legs. So I think we've had George Mitchell in there. We've worked this back and forth really hard. I think you have to look at the direction of the administration. And you can judge by results when results are attainable, but you also have to look at the effort that's gone into this. A lot of effort has gone into working this problem in the Middle East. And frankly, we haven't heard any better suggestions out of the other side. And it's one of the problems of this debate is that you really cannot make foreign policy by soundbite. And what we have here is a very strong president who's had a very robust foreign policy. He put the troops in to get Osama bin Laden, and they got them. He did the surge in Afghanistan. He's followed through on the pledge to stay there in Iraq, and he was willing to leave troops behind. It was the Iraqis who decided they couldn't treat our troops the right way if they stayed behind, and our military decided we couldn't leave our troops there under those conditions. So when you add all of this up, this is a president who takes national defense and national security very, very seriously. And I think that what we're looking for here is to see the challengers produce the same level of thought, the same level of reflection, and some ideas that would be different. Mostly foreign policy and the people who work it underneath, they all have been to the same schools, they know about the same things, and so it's hard for these Republican candidates to draw a distinction. But I would say this, what we've seen thus far is damaging to America, because it gives the impression that group of people really aren't serious about America's role in the world and keeping America safe.
Well,
and that's a very dangerous impression to give.
We're going to have to leave it there. Wes Clark, Wes Moore, thank you both very much.
Thank you.